our second off the press story. This is one I'm very, very curious to hear your take on, actually, because our second off the press story, let me just. Hocus Pocus 3 is officially in the works at Disney. The news comes on the heels of the sequel's success on Disney Plus last year. Now, before we actually talk about the quality or lack thereof of this movie, let me just go through this article from The Hollywood Reporter. Sean Bailey, president of Walt Disney Studios Motion Picture Productions, confirmed in an interview with the New York Times that Hocus Pocus 3 is happening. It all comes as little surprise given the success of last year's sequel, which set, wait for it, a record for an opening weekend by a movie on a streamer with 2.7 billion minutes viewed. Overall, the film landed at number 5 on the most streamed movies of 2022 with a total of 5.7 billion minutes viewed. While the first film was not a box office hit, it became a cult hit over the years thanks to airings on basic cable. The third film would follow Kenny Ortega's 1993 original and last year's Anne Fletcher directed sequel, both of which starred Betty Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy as the Sanderson sisters. Winifred, Sarah, and Mary, respectively, a trio of witches who suck the life force out of children in an effort to stay young. Right. I have some feelings on this. So, with respect, I would like to take the reins on this one. This is the biggest case of what have you done for me lately in reverse? Because if you think about it, as the article literally says, Hocus Pocus 1 is so beloved. So, obviously, Hocus Pocus 2 is going to do well. But as I'm sure you're going to attest to in the moment, disclaimer, I haven't even seen this movie. The trailers looked awful, and word of mouth from my best friend who's about to appear put me off ever seeing this movie. So it's not because Hocus Pocus 2 did so well that you should greenlight to number 3. This is a case of studios' lack of awareness for how people are actually feeling. AJ, fill me in on how good or bad this movie was.
This is an absolute cosign, bro. The film was terrible, absolutely terrible. It couldn't even knock onto the nostalgia. What I believe they've done is kind of like the Flash film we talked about. They had a script in place, which was to lead for a new generation, and because the streams had such big numbers, they were able to. They think that the film's a success. I guarantee you, had this film been cinema released, the Hocus Pocus 3 would not be a thing. It's literally a case of anyone can stream this, anyone can think this is bad. I'm going to give this another shot. I put on Hocus Pocus 3 2. The missus wasn't in when it came in. Maybe I've rewound it because that's what we're talking now. We're talking watch minutes. There are so many elements behind what made Hocus Pocus 2 one of the most streamed out there, but I've not heard any positives to Hocus Pocus 2 from absolutely anyone. 2-minute giggle that they updated the broom to the electronic Hoover that does all the hoovering on its own. That was it. Ha ha, giggle giggle. There was nothing positive about this film. This goes back to the argument you have always made. Box office versus streaming is always going to be the winner because the streams mean nothing on this. The film was terrible.
But this is kind of the point, isn't it? It's like the views, the number of views are not an accurate reflection of the movie's quality. They're just not.
Far from.
And I literally, I shouldn't say that having not seen it. I'm admitting I haven't seen it. You told me, and let's be real. In a world of you and me, you're often easier to please than I am with passé movies. I'm not being insulting now. I think
no. This is it.
Yeah. So for you to turn around, not that you're some gradient of low expectation, but I'm just saying you're easier to please than I am. So if you were like, nah, to this movie, I don't see how I could gravitate towards it. And I love the original.
My other half is deep into Hocus Pocus. Like, I remember watching Hocus Pocus, and that is it. It's a fond memory. If you're going to tell me a certain scene or anything, I'm blank to it. You talk to my other half, she could tell you the song that Sarah Jessica Parker sings at a certain point and all of this. Like, it's one of her favorites. Like, it's a treasured memory to her. She was so excited, yet so disappointed at the same time. I do this, and I guarantee you it won't do the numbers you were expecting, Disney. It's a fact. You had every parent under the sun looking to show their kids what Hocus Pocus was all about. And that's why the
Right.
sequel came out. And no. Do you know? Here's a question. I believe there's a film on Netflix called 365. Is it 365, 364, something like that?
Okay.
It has views. You watch its scoring review. I think it's like 0%. Like, you don't have to be good to be viewed.
Correct.
Especially on the stream. So think about it, Disney. Think about it.
Oh, another instance of Disney not having their finger on the pulse. My goodness, they've fallen off the wagon in the last few years. It's fine. I'm sure they'll rediscover themselves now that Bob Iger's here. Now that Bob Iger has returned, thankfully. God, I wish Silver Screen News had been around when I was ripping on Bob Chapek. Oh, God, that would have made for views. just on a quick side tangent regarding Bob Chapek. I think I'll put this one in vertical because I think this should get some nice clicks. Regarding Bob Chapek, because remember, this is the guy who said to Pixar, yeah, we're going to put your movies directly onto streaming because no one really cares about animation. Oh, well, roll on 2023. The biggest box office opening and still the biggest box office movie of the entire year is Super Mario Bros. The second biggest box office opening and looking to be the second biggest box office movie of the year is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Suck on that, Chapek, you asshat. Sorry. God, I needed to get that out.
Can I just follow up on that? I get that Disney have Marvel. I get that Disney have Star Wars. But you are still part of the House of Mouse. How are you going to say that animation is dead? Come on, bro. Finger on the pulse.
This is a very good point. I wish I'd put you vertical for that.
It's all good.